You know, I've been doing videos for a while now, and I've never really given you guys a garage tour. What's going on in here, where I do most of my work, and, you know, how I get stuff done. So I figure why not give you guys a little garage tour. So, we just went through and cleaned the garage out today, moved a bunch of stuff around. This is the main workbench right here. You know, I do all my wiring and stuff on here. I got a vise that just bolts onto it and stuff like that. Got this really nice drill press right here, and racks with, you know, miscellaneous bolts and hardware, screws, stuff like that in here. This stuff right here is what I use for building angle kits. So I have, you know, drawers of time joints, miscellaneous little spacers and stuff like that, bolts and nuts that I use for the kits and all that stuff. So that's basically my little hardware bin for, you know, doing my custom angle kits, the suspension parts and stuff like that. Now on this shelf, I used to have my bandsaw and my grinder, but I just moved that over here. So I found this little scrap table here, just like out in the trash, and I was like, I could probably use that for something. And so just it had some like wonky legs on it, so I just like welded them up real quick and made it a little sturdy, cut a little top for it so I can put my grinder and my saw and all that stuff on there. Got the tube bender in the corner, which is tuner tools that I'm borrowing, and then my dinky little welding bench. Now that we've actually cleaned that corner of the garage out, I can finally get a big welding bench. So I think next week, maybe the week after that, I might order up a big 72 inch by, I think it was 72 by 30 bench. So I'm gonna get a nice big steel bench to put in the corner, make fabricating a lot easier. And behind me here is my washed up shrine to myself of my old drifting trophies from a long time ago. Some of the magazine articles my car was in as well. Article from GM High Tech Performance magazine. My car was pretty much stock back then. It had a goofy wing on it that I made out of a strut tower brace, and the car was rattle canned and had a cheap little angle kit on it and stuff like that. I mean, if you look at the engine bay, was pretty much stock with an intake. And then this one was basically version 2 of the car. This was in S3 magazine. You know, had a better angle kit on it, and, you know, did some rear chassis work, front chassis work, stuff like that. Original gauge cluster out of the GTO. Now, one thing I have hanging on here is this little Hot Wheels van. See that? Little Hot Wheels van? You might be wondering, with all your trophies and stuff, and, you know, your magazine articles, why do you have a Hot Wheels van hanging up there? Well, a few years ago, I used to work at a shop called Ice 9. They were, you know, one of my title sponsors on the GTO, and we actually built that van for Hot Wheels, full-size transit van. It was really cool. Did some gull-wing doors on the back of it, converted all that over, so I did a ton of fabrication on that car and had a big part in it. And, you know, being able to build a car that turns into a Hot Wheels is pretty cool. So I got a couple of those, and I figured I'd hang one of them up with it. Then up here behind me is my parts shelf. Those are pretty much new parts. Somebody left a Gatorade bottle up there. But those are all new parts that need to go on the car. That's mostly old parts, takeoff, stuff like that, factory suspension parts, a fender off the GTO because I want to hang that somewhere. Got my Canton Racing banner up there, some XXR wheels and stuff like that. I think my passenger seat is behind the banner, and up there, my driver's seat. And up there, I have some body work, some spare carbon fiber splitters, some spare side skirts, and the wing off the GTO, along with some engine parts. So I have the oil pan, the Canton Racing oil pan off the GTO, the factory 5.3 intake manifold and stuff like that. This is mostly just 5.3 stuff, and then in the bins up there, I have some 5.3 stuff as well. And over in this corner is where I keep most of my spare scrap material and stuff like that, cut-offs. I got a bin full of just random cut-off stuff like that. Usually keep my sheet stuff on the, just laying up against the wall. Got some ABS plastic too, because you know that stuff does come in handy quite often. We got all of our shelving, so this stuff is just loaded with all of our oils, paints, cleaners, whatever we need. It's all on the shelves. Keeps everything really nice and tidy and clean in here for the most part. That way we don't have stuff laying all over the place. One thing I did do today, we got around to kind of starting to set our hoist up. So the legs are still down there. I haven't put those in yet, but the actual hoist and everything is bolted up and ready to go. The crossbeam actually runs up in the attic across there. So, you know, I'm not gonna be able to lift the car all the way up, and I'm definitely gonna need to change 2 of these bulbs out with a smaller bulb that can fit up there, because these things hang down quite a bit. They're super bright though, so I like them, but they're gonna have to get changed out. And you know, once this hoist is done, it's gonna be so much nicer, that's for sure. Tool wise, I just got my cart here with all my sockets and stuff like that in it. I keep most of my pliers and scissors, stuff like that in there. Pick tools, screwdriver, or pick tools and Allen wrenches, and you know, some lubes and stuff like that in that drawer. All my welding supplies in that one. Some wrenches. And then in here I have a couple air tools and stuff like that. Fluke meter. Then all my screwdrivers and stuff on the side. A couple electric tools. You know, my tools are actually very, very basic and minimal at home. It is enough to get the job done though. So, I mean, I don't really overcomplicate it and buy tons and tons of money in tools for at home. I do want to get a bigger box though. So I'm waiting until I get the bench built. And then once the new bench is up for welding, I'm going to get a bigger box, because that one is kind of crowded right now and it's a little bit small for the amount of tools I have shoved in it. And then under here we have all of our jack stands, motorcycle hoist, the LS2 block out of the GTOs back there, the 8.8 rear end, the T56 trans and all that stuff all tucked up in there. You know, just stuff that needs to go on the car eventually. This side is my roommate's side. You know, he does all of his motorcycle stuff over here, so that's his bike that he just finished up, and then his other Harley, and then one of his friend's Harleys under the blanket over there. That's the bike that actually we just moved out of that corner, so I could get this stuff set up a little bit better finally. But yeah, I mean, our garage isn't huge. It's a decent size, and it is enough to do the type of work that we need to do in here. So, you know, you don't need a crazy shop to build stuff like this. You can do it in your garage. You just got to get creative with making things work. Fitting the hoist in here was definitely something we had to consider for a while and measure out and make sure we were really going to be able to fit it in here, because, you know, with my roommate having 2 motorcycles, this car, you know, we didn't want to overcrowd it. And, you know, luckily the garage is big enough that everything fits really well. But I would have to say my favorite thing about this entire garage is that if you look at it, wall to wall, except for that corner, is covered in pegboard. Now, I never knew how much I needed pegboard in my life until I had it. Having pegboard is the greatest thing ever, because you can literally just hang everything from the walls. It's all hung up on the pegboard. All that stuff, all hanging up on the pegboard. So I mean, you don't need drawers, you don't need to have shelving to put all the stuff on. You just put pegboard hooks up, hang the stuff up, and you're good to go. Even like over here, you know, we got zip ties, grommets, spare grinding wheels, you know, shrink tube and connectors and stuff like that. That, you know, you go to the store and you buy these and they have the little hooks on them, so you just hang them up, open them up, close them when you're done. It's awesome. It's so great to have. And you know, if you don't have pegboard in your garage and you can put pegboard in your garage, I highly suggest you do it and you won't regret it. And then I also have the hood of the GTO over there in the corner. That was hanging up from the ceiling right there before, but we had to kind of hang plastic all up in the ceiling to kind of keep the heat in here during the winter. We just finally pulled all that stuff down today because we had to cut a hole to clear the hoist in the ceiling, and to do that we had to pull the plastic down. So But yeah, that's about it. You know, I got a couple other little things here and there. You know, I got a whiteboard that I pull out and hang up from time to time. All this stuff's going to be coming down soon and going into the house because this is wasted real estate over in my area and I need as much space as I can get. Anyways, that's going to be it for this one. I just thought I'd give you guys a little bit of a garage tour and show you what I'm working with in here. So, you know the drill. Like the video if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Follow the build of this thing along, and I will catch you guys later.